Top story, college hoops, number 10 Baylor taking on Oklahoma State on Monday. Isaac Likely hits the circus shot at the regulation buzzer, but it was ruled a shot clock violation. This one would go extra time. Baylor's James Akinjo hits the pull-up J, 14 ticks left. That would seal the win for the Bears, 66-64. If you remember, back on January 15th, Oklahoma State knocked off then number 1 Baylor. Baylor gets revenge here.
Ooh, I like it. I love all this college hoops action. Winner, back and better than ever. Adam Flagler missed last Saturday's game against TCU with a knee injury, but last night he was on fire, dropping a team-leading 29 points, tying his career high. It was also the most points scored by any Baylor player so far this season. And Jay, he was also 7 of 13 from 3 last night.
Bada boom, bada bing. Loser so close. Because Oklahoma State was so close to winning this one. We showed you this in regulation from Isaac Likely. That was a shot clock violation. But then, after it was reviewed, that's what it was called, although it looked like it would have counted, did not. It would force overtime, and that's when Isaac Likely had another opportunity to end this one with the 3 in overtime. Couldn't get it to go. Tough night for him. 2 close call finishes, all for naught.
Speaking about a tough night, here we go. Indiana and Ohio State. Number 22 Buckeyes taking on the Hoosiers. IU had a lead with less than 20 seconds remaining, but they could not close out the game. Malachi Brandon found E.J. Liddell for the wide-open dunk. That would force OT, and then in OT, Jamari Wheeler nailed a 3 with under 3 to go, and Ohio State never looked back. They beat my Hoosiers 80-69. What is with that headshot?
Check out that headshot. Loser, Shae's headshot and her blood pressure. What a meltdown from her Hoosiers, where she's an alum. The Hoosiers used an 18-4 run to grab a 4-point lead with 5 minutes left. Pretty impressive. And then came overtime, where the Buckeyes closed this one out, the 10-0 run, where the Hoosiers missed their last 7 shots. I had Indiana plus 6.5. They should have won in regulation. They lose by 11 in overtime. What a bunch of, I will save what I feel about this one.
It wasn't even my blood pressure, our whole house. Anyways, back to Malachi Brandon, who led Ohio State with 27 points last night. He finished 9 of 13 from the field, topped his season average by 16 points. That's a lot of points. Brandon averaged just 6.3 points per game in his first 10 college games, but in the 13 since, he's averaged 17. A real blow-up, Jay.
Top story, women's college hoops. Number 21, Iowa hosting number 10, Indiana. And Shae, it doesn't get any better for your Hoosiers because they were facing Caitlin Clark. And you know she's all up in a highlight. 29 points, 8 boards, 8 dimes as the Hawkeyes come back from down 12. Looks like it's a common theme for both men and women in the Indiana basketball program, giving up leads as Iowa storms back to win 88-82.
All right, let's focus on the Hawkeyes because my Hoosiers a mess. That's a lot of points. Monica Sanowo led the Hawkeyes with 31 points and 10 boards. And when you add in Caitlin Clark's 29, that's a combined 60 from the 2 of them. More than 2/3 of the team's total points scored were from the 2 of them. It was the 4th time Clark and Sonano both scored 25 points in a game over the last 2 seasons.
Winner, 1 of 1. Caitlin Clark keeps making history. She has over 650 points, 200 dimes, and 175 boards through 25 games played this season, making her the only D1 player across women's and men's basketball since 1999 and 2000 to reach those marks. Pretty remarkable.
Let's stay in the Big Ten, but back to the men's side, because here we go with the latest news out of Michigan. Michigan men's basketball coach Juwan Howard has been suspended 5 games. That's the remainder of the regular season, and fined $40,000 for hitting Wisconsin assistant coach Joe Grabenhoff in the face after Sunday's game. The Big Ten Conference announced this yesterday. Wisconsin coach Greg Gard was fined $10,000 for violating the conference's sportsmanship policy, but not suspended at all. While Grabenhoff is not expected to receive any punishment.
Surprising to me, Shae. More on that in a second, but here's the statement issued from Coach Juwan Howard. I'm offering my sincerest apology to my players and their families, my staff, my family, and the Michigan fans around the world. I would also like to personally apologize to Wisconsin's assistant coach. Note this, Joel Grabenhoff, and his family too. It's Joe. That might have been a little bit of trolling there from Michigan, calling him Joel, not Joe Grabenhoff. Lastly, I speak a lot about Michigan men and representing the University of Michigan with class and pride. I didn't do that, nor did I set the right example in the right way for my student athletes. I'll learn from my mistake, and this mistake will never happen again. No excuses.
All right, so taking some accountability is Juwan Howard, and now we know what the fallout is from the brawl on Sunday. Juwan Howard not available for the rest of the regular season, which I know you thought would have been the right active punishment. But on the other side, Grabenhoff gets nothing. Greg Gard gets fined, but 10 G's. Your thoughts?
Well, Greg Gard makes over $2.5 million a year. So a $10,000 fine is clearly Wisconsin saying, we'll do something just to do something.
Slap you on the wrist.
But it'll be a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
I felt like Greg Gard should have been suspended one game. For him not to be suspended, it's not the worst thing. I don't think it's that big a deal. I do think Joe Krabbenhoff did play a role in this because he didn't do what was asked of him and required in that situation as an assistant to defuse a situation and protect your players. He failed to protect his players, and all he did was pour more gasoline on the fire. Take that all away. Juwan Howard's truly the story here because he put his hands on another coach's face, and there's no melee if it's not for the actions of Juwan Howard. So that's where the focus needs to be. Chiefly, the focus needs to go to.
Totally.
I like that it wasn't a knee-jerk reaction where they felt like, let's fire the guy.
I agree.
He is Michigan basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy played on the Fab Five, one of the most influential teams in the history of the sport. He represented Michigan at the highest level as a player, in his professional career, as a professional coach. And a moment like this should not stain the body of work and the equity he's built up. That being said, it was an awful error that he made. And it was a terrible lack of judgment, lack of leadership. And what's most telling about this is some people may say it's just 4 or 5 games in the regular season he's suspended for. It's greater than that because Michigan is a team trying to make the NCAA tournament. This is a punishing blow. This is also where Coach Howard let his group down because now this group is tasked with trying to make the NCAA tournament without their head coach. At the time he's needed most, he has let them down by letting emotions get the best of him. That's something he'll have to live with this team. I'm happy that he'll have an opportunity to make it right in the Big Ten tournament. Hopefully his team can get it done and they're not punished by their coach's actions. But this should send a message out there to all that this type of behavior is not going to be tolerated from grown folk. You're supposed to be setting the tone for what you want your players and your program to be. Clearly, Juwan Howard missed the mark here. But despite a game suspension or not, Coach Gard and Coach Krabbenhoff missed the mark as well. You can be at fault, and there can be levels of fault. Juwan Howard's at the top of that mountain of fault, but don't make no mistake. Coach Greg Gard and Coach Joe Krabbenhoff should be a learning experience for them, and they're lucky that they're not missing games as well.
Just to piggyback off what you said, because I agree with everything you said. Notably, the 5 games that they have left for Michigan, 3 of which are against ranked opponents, and they matter in terms of the resume. So now how does this team respond? Do they go out and win kind of for their coach, or do they fall off the rails because of all the distractions and everything that's gone on the last week?
Well, it's interesting you say that, Shae, because now I think Coach Howard's kind of even more under a magnifying glass by not being there.
Right.
Because if this group does fall flatly on their face, there's going to be a lot of looks sideways at Coach Howard to think, well, you're not here to guide this team against these ranked opponents. I think another one of them is Rutgers, who's firmly on the bubble.
Right.
So all these games are challenging games for Michigan. If the team responds well, that does great things for Coach Howard because he doesn't have to feel the guilt of letting his group down. If they can just kind of go 500 in these games, it should be enough for them, and they'll have a great opportunity to steal still great wins in a Big Ten tournament. So he'll have a chance. You just hope they don't fall flat here. Because if they do, it's going to be even more negativity thrown Coach Howard's way because he's not there to support the guys.
So one more thing I want to add, too, like Wisconsin, any day now, can you release a statement, please, too? You were also at fault. I think
they did actually release a statement today as we were getting ready to go on this morning, basically saying it was a Wisconsin fine, not a Greg Gard fine. So they are standing by their guys, feeling like there's not much culpability on their side at all, which is really interesting from Wisconsin.
More defending. Okay.
Which takes us to our top of the class college hoops. Mars Hill, Catawba, the rivalry amongst rivalries. Mars Hill down 2. Isaiah Jones gets the ball and hits a 3-pointer at the buzzer. Down 2. Give me 3. Game blouses. Mars Hill wins 70-69.
Back of the class. Norfolk State and Morgan State. Norfolk State's Mahogany Williams throws Morgan State's Jania Henson to the ground. Ooh. Oh, my goodness.
Oh.
In the final seconds of the game. This is like wrestling. I don't think we're supposed to be doing that. That's a serious... Oh, there's pushing and shoving.
Luckily,
Morgan
they
State wins the game.
Kept it under somewhat order there. Didn't get too out of hand. Top trolling. Maryland, Penn State. The Terrapins get the 67-61 over Penn State. And Maryland had some fun with their social media after the victory. While trolling Penn State's loss, Maryland used a photo of Jake Gyllenhaal and quoted Taylor Swift lyrics, broke them like a promise, making it red, Maryland's version. I don't get any of that.
I saw it last night on social media, and I didn't get it then.
I think that's really too niche of a tweet, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not also a Swiftie, so, you know.
A little bit of a promotion here. College basketball, Big 10, Big 12 Super Tuesday doubleheader coming your way on ESPN and the app. 7 p.m. Eastern, Michigan State is at Carver Hawkeye Arena to take on number 25 Iowa. Then it's the in-state rivalry game. Number 5 Kansas against Kansas State at Allen Fieldhouse. That's my promotion.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.